It is a great honor and a privilege to introduce Rivka Amitzur. Your maiden name was Katz.
Katz.
And you've been a patient for many years and a close and dear friend. And we're in your beautiful home here in Yerushalayim. And Rivka, if you could tell us a little bit about your family and your history.
I'll tell you in short because, look, let's say like this. I don't remember my grandparents, not from my mother's side and not from my father's side, because they passed away before I was born even.
Where were you born?
I was born in Yash, Romania, which was a very, even today, it's an important city. It used to be the capital of this district. Romania was divided in 12 different districts, and every district had its capital. And so in this district, Yash, it's called in Romanian, it was the capital of this district. So it was a very, very I can't say modern, because when you say modern in our times, it's completely different from what it was then. But still, it had very nice streets and very nice buildings, and there was an electric car moving through the city. There were many, many Jewish families, and actually, I don't know from other families. I know very, very little, because in those days, I think, in my case, my family was just gathered together and without many, many circles around. There were some friends, but not in the meaning that you have friends here, coming over and coming for tea or something like this. No, everyone was interested with his to pass his day in a good way, let's say.
Rivka, what year were you born?
1934.
Do you remember the date?
Yes, 26th of March.
Wow.
But in my documents, when I came here to Israel, it's a different story. I came by myself, 12 and a half years, so where I was in the Mossad, they changed my date, well, my birth date, because they wanted to have a certain amount of children putting together in a class. So I think for bureaucratic things, they had to make things like this. So and I didn't change it since then, because I didn't want to go to the
Interior Ministry,
the Interior Ministry of Romania, to take it out, because actually I had my certificate birthday card, but when I started to teach as a teacher, I didn't know that I can make it as a copy, and I gave the original one, and that was in Beersheba, and there was a big fire over there, and all the documents were burned. So I don't have actually a document showing my real date, but I usually have twice a year my birthday.
That's wonderful.
Because here they made me half a year younger. It was in the 11th in the November, 26th November instead of March. So it's not a big difference. Okay. Actually, I understood that you wanted me to tell you a little bit about how I passed the Holocaust time.
And your family, a little bit about your parents and your family.
Okay. We were considered as a middle-class family. My father was a merchant. He had a very big store before the war burst out. It was in the center of the city, but when the Nazi party came to have their apartment wall to wall with our house, we had to move out, and we moved out in the middle of the night. Actually, I was over then about 5 years old.
You remember?
I remember only the cart. There weren't trucks over there. Anyhow, I don't remember any trucks. So with a cart, it was moved several times from the center of the city and to the outskirts of the city. There was over there a gathering of about 40 families. It used to be a place. It was near the palace. So there's a big even today you can find it, a big palace from the 15th century, and over there this mitram, this place where I believe it was used for the servants, for the horses, for all the things that they had to aspaka, how do we call aspaka? Never mind. Anyhow, so all those 40 families gathered from the center of the city, and we were over there. And so when we went over, my father had to give up the store. He couldn't have it anymore, and he had to start thinking how to provide the family with the everyday needs of the family.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have one brother.
Older? Or?
No, younger. He is 3 years younger than me. He's a doctor in physics. He lives in Petah Tikva. He has a big family, a nice family. One of his sons is a rabbi. So, yeah, I have a picture of my grandparent of my father, that you can see him with a bird and with not a streimer, but a high hat that was used to wear over there. So from this moment, it started to be very difficult. And he had to do many things in order to have the everyday income. So he used to buy things a little bit cheaper and sell it a little bit more expensive. But he sometimes he had to buy it from the goyim, and I remember very, very brightly that one of the days he bought a big box of let's say 50 kilos of sugar, but you know, not the one that we use here, but the cubes. And when he opened the box, it was over there stones, bricks. So he lost all his money. So other stories that I can tell you, that he used to it was a
black market.
A black market, and he used to bring let's say eggs and flour and things like this from the big city to the small villages around. And he was used to travel with a train. And one of the times the conductor came. Not the conductor, but the mefaker, the one that comes to see if you have things that you don't have to have it. And he saw a big pack with eggs, for instance, and it was open. It was not packed completely. You know how we have it here in the stores. And then Yash, who those eggs belonged to, she said, it's not mine. And in order to show them that it's not his, so he put it down on the floor, and with his leg he just put it in. He also lost all his money, what he can. Anyhow, what I wanted to tell, even though it was so hard to have those, how to provide, we kept Shabbat, every Shabbat, and we managed to have, there are stories that said everything you prepare in the middle of the week, you prepare for Shabbat. So this was the way that in our family was. So some white flowers to make chalot and things like this. So my mother was very, really helped my father very much in this way, that she knew how to manage with a very, very small amount of money to have it for everything that she needed for. Sometimes he also brought some very, very high and tall candles for the church. It means everything that could have had a little bit of income, he did it. He was very, very intelligent. He wasn't a scholar, because in those days, when you got to be bar mitzvah, actually you were sent out of the family and go and find yourself and prepare yourself. And so he was a self-made person, but with very, very high intelligence, because he managed to get out from difficult situation. And Baruch Hashem, for sure we had the Ashgacha Elyona, because otherwise you couldn't have done it. But we felt it that as a Kohen, he used to pray every morning, we put on that tefillin. It means he didn't study the yeshiva, but what was studied and prepared before the bar mitzvah, with this you had to continue your life. But so his family also, he had 4 sisters and 2 brothers, 3 brothers actually, and they used to live in a village, let's say, I believe about 30-40 kilometers away. I remember this once we went to a wedding over there to his youngest brother, and we went by cart. And I remember how my back was completely sore. These sorts of, to have 30-40 kilometers by cart. Anyhow, those were the ways that people managed to struggle and to live and to be able to come to Israel and have families here and so on. Anyhow, in this court that we used to live, once they came in some goyim with guns. They took us all out, and this I remember very, very clearly, and we were put with our face to the wall.
Wait.
And we were really kind of minutes to be killed. But they agreed to have the watches and all the a lot of money and all the good things that we had in our houses and those 40 families. And so we were saved. But we felt, what does it mean to stay with your face to the wall and to have the people with your gun just pointed to you to to shot you.
Rivka, were these Romanian or German?
No, Romanian. Now when we speak about the what the war is going on now, they also, the going over there, they used to be very, very hard with the Jewish people. We had pogroms in Ukraine. So, but now we open our gate for them to show very, very, very fine people, okay?
But these were Romanians
yes,
that had
these
the guns?
Were Romanians. Yes, these were Romanians. They were most probably in some kind of an army. The Nazi came into Romania 2 years after in 1942.
Yeah.
But we had a big pogrom in Yash in 1941. Many people were killed. And in what way? The Romanian, you know, we have jokes about Romanians that they are not speaking the truth. And so the municipality told people that they want to come and have a permit to move around freely in the city. So many people really went over there. Many people, it means kind of a couple of thousand people, not just 10 people or not 100. Seder Godel, how to say, a great amount of people, and they came to this court, to the police, and they were shot over there.
This was the massacre at Yash, in Yash?
Yes, you can read it in the
It's
history.
very well known.
Yes.
I've met somebody who was...
Yes, the pogrom is a massacre.
He was there as a child, and they managed to escape.
That's right. This is the way that we escaped. As I said before, you have to have the siyata d'ishmael first of all, but also to have the understanding what to do at this present moment to save yourself.
Was your family there?
No, my family wasn't there, but my father's sister with her family, they used to have actually to pay the goyim to have land which grew wheat, and when the wheat was cut, some amount of money was given to the owner of the land, and this is how they used to live for many years over there. And when it started to be very dangerous to stay over there, they came to live with us but a couple of months. And you have to understand, there were 4 people, and we were 4 people in 2 rooms. But anyhow, and then one day when the municipality told them that they can come and have this permit to go back home, so they went and got the permit. And when they were in the electric car, some goyim took them off again with the guns, and they asked them to lay down in the river that passed the city, and the train went over there, they went out, they got off the train, not the train, in the electric car, and they were shot.
They were killed?
They were killed, except of the girl. She was, yes, it was. Now, the boy was 17 years old, and the girl was 15 years old. And I think maybe she was the first born in the family, so was the eldest one. Anyhow, the stories like this.
Rivka, come on, and these were Romanians that shot?
Yes, they for sure they were. This was a time before the Nazis even came in. You have to understand, from 1940 till 1942, everything what was done to the Jews, and there were many bad things done to the Jews, it was performed only by the Goyim, that they were there. When you read the history about the Ukraine, what has happened in pogrom Tach and Tat and Tach, you can't understand it as was Goyim, not Nazi, and not the anti-Semitic people and all this notion of anti-Semitism that they learned, and they even had it with as you say in Hebrew, with the milk of the mother breast. It was in them, and it wasn't hatred for nothing.
And Rivka, do you remember as a child, did you feel this anti-Semitism? Did you feel?
Look, I didn't feel because I went to a Jewish school. When I was in my first grade, the beautiful building of the Jewish school was bombarded, so we had to go over to study in synagogues. Every class was put in a different synagogue, because the synagogue wasn't so big. There was maybe a room or two, maybe there were 2 classes, but I remember my class. So in Romania, the educational system was like this, that you study 4 years, and then this is what the government gives you as education. From then on, you have to pay for the intermediate classes, and later on for the upgrade classes. And there weren't, so I used to, even to the kindergarten, I went to a Jewish kindergarten. And I had even pictures in Purim, as I was dressed as an angel with my costume. Anyhow, if I would have known, I would have prepared the pictures. I had them. If you are interested in, I can bring it to you next week. So, I didn't feel the anti-Semitic because I was in a Jewish surrounding all the time. We didn't have any connection with the Goyen Gays friends, nothing at all. My father used to go out, and he was with them because he had to have his parnus from them. But otherwise, in our house, we didn't know anything about them. The only experience that we had this experience with the Goyim, that they nearly killed us, but thank God they didn't succeed.
And Rivka, can I ask, how come your parents didn't decide to go back to the city in Yash?
No, they were in Yash.
But when they gave the permit to go?
No, they didn't need a permit, because they didn't go out of this small surrounding that those 40 families used to live together.
It was the surrounding of Yash.
That's right. No, it was in the
suburbs.
It was in a suburb, but near the palace. And when there was a big bombardment later on in '44, before the Russian came in, so we had the luck that they didn't want to destroy an historical place. So we were in a way connected with this place, and we only saw the big lightning that they put before they throw the bombs. Later, not, because we didn't have a clat.
Like a shelter.
The shelter. We went. There were 2 stories buildings over there in a square, in a square way, and at the tachtit, at the bottom of those, but it was still in the building. There was over there the machsanim, each one had so over there we
like
had
a storeroom.
That's right, we had to be there, a very small one, for a couple of months. That it was all the time bombardments, and we couldn't really actually go out. I don't know. Anyhow.
And Riv, can I ask, because it is so important, what happened in Yash with that massacre?
That was only Goyim.
But what do you know what happened in that day?
I only know from reading. I didn't, except of this part that my father's sisters and her family were shot down in a very cruel way. I didn't have any other experience to know then what has happened. My parents most probably knew, but we as children, we weren't told anything about it. It wasn't spoken in openly. No, we didn't know anything about it. Of the massacre, no, we didn't know.
And did you have any other relatives that were, because a lot of people...
we had from my mother's side. She had two sisters, and they were living in a different district. And from time to time they came to visit each other, but not very frequently, because it wasn't possible. It was dangerous to go out. If you could stay at home, it was much better. But for instance, my mother she knew how to make dresses, and she also got from Goyim to prepare them the dresses, and for instance ironing the sheets, the big sheets and so on, because they used to have the sheets boiled and then put it in a kind of to have it strong.
Starch.
Yeah,
they put
yes.
a bit of starch.
Yes, and then they used to bring it to my mother, and in this way she also made like a couple of bucks, as you say. Anyhow, we didn't have a lot of money. We just managed to have what we needed. I remember that during the war I was very, very sick, and over there wasn't Kupat Cholim. You have to pay the doctor. Yeah. Anyhow, in a way that they collected and so on, because they brought me medicine from Bucharest. And on those days, to bring medicine from there, I had a meningitis, and I was saved.
So dangerous.
Yes, Baruch Hashem, everything to Siyata Dishmaya, but there were difficult times. You can't describe it. 5 years of, I wouldn't say starvation, but a feeling of pachad. How do you say pachad?
Fear.
Fear. Yes. You fear to go out of your house, and as I said, I didn't have any friends or anything. Just a small family that was, even though we were in a Jewish quarter, as I said, but very little time I used to play with the other children outside.
And what did you do during the day?
I used to learn at school.
So they had a little school where you were...
I went to the synagogue. It wasn't far away, but it was. I could walk to them. Though later.
And when the Germans came in 42...
When the German came in at the beginning, I can't say what has happened, no. But I remember that my father used to, as a merchant, he brought them, I don't know exactly what, but I know that he also had, there was a time that he used to work for a guy in Kretschmann in Yiddish you say, where you sell wines, and he served the Germans over there. Yes, and they were friendly over there. But what they did later on,
like a tavern, yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
Look, it's impossible really in such a short period of time to recall all the things, but I know that it wasn't easy. And I appreciate my father that he did so many things to have his family together and to see that they'll have what they need, not in a very, very big scale, but just what they needed. My mother used to make jam by herself, or for instance, to prepare the vegetables for the winter. For instance, the tomatoes she used to put them in a kind of a special paper, and then it was put on the cupboard, but it's not a cupboard, it's not where they put the dresses, it's not called the cupboard. It's not Aron Begadim.
A dresser for clothes.
Yes. So she put it there, and it stood over there a couple of weeks, and then we had this, for instance, she prepared from the eggplants. I remember that we used to help her. She put them in kind of a bottles, and I know that we went to the pharmacy to buy something to pasteurize it, and it was boiled in a big pot. So we had the eggplants, and for instance we had cabbage. You made it in a big what's that? What to eat? You put it in a big. It's a special wooden. It's not a pot, but it's called different. When you put the wine for a couple of years, so we had the cabbage. We as children, so then cut the cabbage, and then they had a kind of a pasture bought from the pharmacy, and so it kept the vegetables fresh and not stored, not
with preservatives.
That's right. This is the word. Yes. What else?
And Rivka, when the Germans came, did life change, or was it similar to what it was before?
Look, I as a child that it wasn't taught, it wasn't spoken in the house. I don't know anything about it.
Did you have to wear a yellow star?
Yes, for sure.
You had to, yeah.
Yes, this was in the beginning. This wasn't before the Nazi came in. I don't know for sure. If it was before.
But you remember wearing a yellow star?
Yes, my mother had. She made it by herself. She bought the piece of cloth, the yellow one, and she formed the shape of it.
Of this Magen David?
Yes, Magen David, and then it was put in different clothes that we used to go out with it. Yes. Yeah. Yes. What else can I tell you?
So you stayed in the same place till the end of the war?
Yes. We were in the same place. I was lucky to have my family with them, because yes, there was not a ghetto. Even now it's recognized by the German government that it was an open ghetto, that people could move from place to place. They weren't put in one place and said you can't, for instance, as it was in Poland, that they couldn't go out of the ghetto. You have to smuggle in order to go out. But here, everyone was struggling for his survival, yes.
And have you ever wondered, why did the Romanians do the massacre in Yash? What?
Just anti-Semitism, that's all.
There was no
reason.
No reason. They weren't forced to.
Because I believe that they were in very good connection before that. How was it here in Hebron? Stam.
People got on very well. Yeah.
No, but in Hebron they also, that was in 1929.
29, yeah.
Yes. Also people were killed just because they were Jews. That's all.
And the same in Yash.
Yeah. Over there, but I didn't tell you what. People that came to the police quarter, they were sent later on to the train station, and they were put in trains without windows, just one open pass, and the train moved forward and backward for a couple of days, and people without water and without any sanitation and so on. Many people died over there. Yes, this was also part of this kind of liquidation of the Jews. Yeah.
And Rivka, that incident where they put you against the wall,
yeah,
I mean, that must have been such a trauma that...
Yeah, I remember it so vividly. And how old was I then? Maybe 10 years. That's all.
And you remember them speaking Romanian?
All the time. Yeah. I don't know if there were soldiers or there were civilians, but anyhow they had guns. I believe that this story might be told. There were some people here at the university that they made a research, and there are books telling really the story that was there.
Yeah.
Because it was very, very bad things were done over there. And at the beginning, at the beginning they didn't know about the Romanian places that were so hard. It was spoken only about the Auschwitz and all, and the Majdanek and places like this. But in our place was also very bad situation, but it wasn't told everywhere. People didn't know at the beginning. But in the history books you'll find it.
Now I've met somebody who lives in South Africa who was there as a child in Yash.
Yes.
In that terrible massacre.
That's right. That's right.
And Rivka, what do you remember about near the end of the war when...
Look, at the end of the war, my father again managed to have a store in the Homeshuk market.
In the market.
In the market, and there were better times. And then, when I was 11 years old, I was already in Bnei Akiva.
This was in Romania?
In Romania.
They had a Bnei Akiva?
Yes. Shlichim from Israel came, and they established the Bnei Akiva.
In what year was this? This was...
I believe it was in 1946.
This was straight after the war?
Immediately.
But can I ask you, what happened when you were liberated? What do you remember? Did the Russians come into Romania?
Yes, for sure. And how? They conquered Yash, not only the old Romanian, And after a few years, they really had their government over there. And when my father wanted to come to Israel, as I was saying before, because they told my parents that whoever will send their children to Israel, they will be able to prepare the papers for the reunite the family. And then everybody in the Russian regime over there, it was about 4 or 5 years, the Russian regime.
It was a communist. It was communistic.
Yes, and they had everybody had to be enlisted and to be in a kind of have a record about you. And my father didn't want to be enlisted because he wanted to come to Israel, and then he had to really this is what my brother told me. I wasn't there, I was already here. He had to hide in different places, so he won't be forced to enroll in those places.
Rivka, I'd like to ask you, what do you remember about in 1945 when the war ended? What do you recall?
There isn't any recollection of something special, no.
When you were free again and you could take off you don't remember?
No, we didn't celebrate anything in my family. I don't know what was outside. We didn't celebrate, we didn't make any fuss of it or something. It was as usual, as I said.
Did you stay in your same apartment or did you go?
No, after all we went back towards the center.
And did you go back to your original apartment?
No, over there already the goyim was over there.
They'd have taken it over?
Yes, for sure. It wasn't ours, that property, it was hired.
It was rented?
Rented, that's right. Yes.
And was it difficult to go back now that, and when you heard about what had happened with it must have been very hard.
I heard about it many, many years later, when I was already here. I only knew what happened to our family with my father's sisters and her family, because I didn't tell you that the girl, she wasn't killed, but she was wounded in her head, and she stayed with us about a year, and my mother used to go to her to the hospital to change the bandages every day, every single day. So she was safe. Then she came over to Israel. She buried over there, and she came to Israel, and she had children. Yes.
She got married.
Yes. Yes, but the trauma for sure stayed with her. Yes.
And in 1946, you joined Bnei Akiva?
Yeah, I joined Bnei Akiva, and I went to a summer camp.
Was this in Romania?
In Romania, but not in our city. We had to travel by train about a couple of hours, let's say 6 to 6
and
to 7 hours.
How old you were?
11 years.
11
years. 11 years, no more than this. And why am I going to tell you about this summer camp? And then the year later, 1947, I also came. I went to Bnei Akiva with my friends that I studied with them in the school. And also we went to a summer camp. There was there singing and dancing and stories about Israel. And when the shlichim came to my parents later, it was in the summer 1947. And then they came to my parents to tell them that they should allow me to come to Israel by myself. I thought that I'm going to Israel as I go to the summer camp, and my parents will come to be with me immediately. But this hasn't happened. My parents came to join me 3.5 years later. 3.5 years later. But look, what I, as an adult, I'm thinking, how do parents let children of 12 years old going out without knowing who is going to get in charge of them, who is going to see to their health, who is going to see to their education, who is going to see what they are going to eat or what they are going to dress and so on. Those things they weren't spoken. They were completely forgotten. It was such a everyone wanted to go to Israel. So when I came in Aliyah, there was the biggest number of people that came. We had 15,000 people, 8,000 adults, and 7,000 children. And we were in two big
boats.
Ships, very big ones. And we went out from Romania in the 22nd of December 1947. Why in those days? Because it was nearly to Christmas and the Goyim were busy with their things, so we managed to go out to Bulgaria. We didn't go out from Romania, from the port from Romania, but the ship awaited us in Bulgaria. So after a couple of hours, my father was very sorry that he let me go, and he took the train and went till he came to the border of Romania and Bulgaria, and he couldn't pass. So I went.
And saying goodbye to your parents and your brother must have been very hard.
We went out in such a stormy weather, 22nd of December. It was a storm of snow and cold. I remember later on, I didn't tell you that my cousin, that she was shot, she went to live with my aunt, one of my father's sisters, that she didn't have children. So she took her as her child, and she prepared for her everything later on.
And when you said goodbye to your parents, it must have been very... You thought they were going to join you?
Yeah, I thought that I'm going to the camp. This is what I'm telling you, that we went to the camp. It was a very, very nice place to be. And we thought, but what? We as children, the ship didn't come to Israel. When we came to the Mediterranean...
what was the name of the ship? Do you remember?
Atzmaut במדינת היהודים. Pan York and Pan Christian. Yes. And those ships were actually cargo ships. And we were put in three
like layers?
Layers of wooden plates. So we had, as it is here under the table, we slept about 4 children together.
Because we must just mention, at this time it was the British.
Yes, so we didn't.
Had the blockade.
They sent us to Cyprus.
They intercepted the boat.
Yes, I was there about 4 months.
So you're going on the ship, and how long? Where did you leave from? Do you leave from Bulgaria?
From Bulgaria, yes, Burgas. I remember the names, everything. Yes, this was the name of the port.
Was it exciting being on the ship?
Yes, sir. First of all, as a child, to see such an enormous ship, how to go on those stairs. For sure, people helped us, but anyhow, we were crowded over there, and we had 3 times a day a matzeket, what you take off the soup was the kamut, the amount of water that you could have 3 times a day, and to go out a little bit to have some fresh air. We also went on the
deck.
We went to the deck, but not all of us together. No. It wasn't somebody that was in charge. He knew exactly whom to send and when to send and so on. It was something to look from all Romania to together those 15,000 people. On all the other Aliyah, there were 140 people, 150, but not thousands. From all the that was Gordenia and Bnei Akiva and Shomer HaTzair.
All the youth movement.
All the youth movement. And there were some adults that most probably were lucky to have this to be able to come.
Rivka, can I just ask you before we continue, why was it in Romania where you were, thank God, but why was it that the Germans didn't deport to the camps?
Because actually that was a ma'avar, a land that they only went through to Russia. They didn't stay over there. It was just, I believe, I wouldn't say a couple of days, but a very short period of time that they were over there. Maybe in other parts of Romania they stayed more, but in our place they just went through to Russia.
It was a miracle that they didn't entrench themselves.
That's right.
Otherwise they would have deported.
Yes.
Wow.
Most probably they were told what the Goyim did to us, so it was enough for them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Rivka, what do you remember when you were coming? When did the British come onto the boats, or when did they intercept?
No, it was when we came to the Mediterranean shores. There was big megaphones, and they asked the captain of the ships to turn round, and that we are not allowed to come into Israel.
Could you see the coastline?
No, we were far away.
Okay.
Just remember, well, there is the sea. It means the shore is not the border.
Yeah.
You have a couple of kilometers till it still belongs to the same state.
And you remember the megaphones?
Yes, better for sure. Yes, because we were very, very sad and sorry, and we didn't know what's going to be over there, because when we came to the Cyprus, we came at night, and we were put in a tent, and they throw out everything. We were allowed to take out a bag of 15 kilos. We were putting in the summer things and the winter things and the things that we need for the kitchens and the different things. So all together they had to weigh 15 kilos.
Do you remember the British, they diverted the ship to Cyprus?
No, they only talked to us by the megaphones. And then in Cyprus...
How did the ship go to Cyprus?
There is a sea.
But they had to go. They couldn't.
No, it's I believe about 7-8 hours of traveling. It's not so close.
And they couldn't go to Haifa, to the port, or.
No, we weren't allowed to pass the.
Like a blockade.
No.
Territorial waters.
That's right. You couldn't pass the territory, and this was many, many kilometers away from Haifa. We only heard the big megaphones who spoke to the captain and asked him to turn around and to go to safely to Cyprus. And when we came over there, and as I said, they throw all the things that we had in our bags, and they put DTT. And when they put back the things were mixed up. So things like, for instance, I had a new pair of boots, and I had only one boot put in, and many other things were they weren't put as they were taken out.
And where in Cyprus did you go? Do you know the name of the camp?
Yes, I wasn't there. Over there. There were two different camps: the winter camp and the summer camp. You have to put over there 15,000 people. You know what that means?
Wow.
We were in the summer camp in tents. In the winter camp, they were in barracks, in long barracks.
Do you know the name of the camp? Did they have a name? Or?
No, it was one single camp in Burgas. No, in Famagusta.
Famagusta?
In Famagusta there was over there. Yes.
And you went to Famagusta?
Yes.
Wow. That's on the one side of the island, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember the hotel wire.
The barbed wire?
Yeah.
They had barbed wire?
Around.
So you...
But we also heard that some young boys, they swam to Israel.
Wow.
Yeah. There were stories like this over there.
Sure.
And in Cyprus we really starved. We didn't have enough food. We every youth every camp has, for instance, the Bnei Akiva had a different camp, and Dror and Hashomer Atzair and all everyone had his own little camp, and there were madrichim who were not preparing the food but distributing it. Anyhow, as I said, 15,000 people come at once. They weren't expected over there. So whatever it was on this island was divided into to have for all the people. And I remember that my father used to send me international stamps, and I used to change it at the door.
The post office.
At the post office, and some piastres, and we used to buy dates. This was what was our food.
Wow. And
I was there about 4 months.
4 months. And did they have classes, or what did you do?
Yes. We studied Hebrew, we had songs, we have gymnastics, and the older one had they prepared themselves for the war. They knew that it would come, when they come to Israel, it might be the war. Because
this was in 47, you were...
in 48 already, because we went out on the 22nd of December, and the 1st of January, 48, we came to Cyprus.
Amazing, sure. And what happened that after 4 months they let you leave?
Then the Aliyat HaNoar took over, and those who were person 16, 17, or even 15, they were sent to Mikveh Israel, and we, the younger one, went to Kfar Nora Dati in Kfar Hasidim.
Okay, so I just want to ask you, Rivka, what do you remember of leaving Cyprus, coming to Israel?
Just going to a small vessel, not a ship.
Okay.
And it was daytime, and That's all. When we came, yes, we came to Yafo.
Because now had the British already left?
No.
They were still...
I came in the 6th of April.
6th of April, so the British were still there?
That's right.
It was just in May when they...
That's right. The 6th of April.
So how come the British allowed
The children were, they were allowed every month a certain amount of children went out.
Okay.
The adults stayed in Cyprus for 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Because they were caught earlier. They were caught in 46.
And were you very excited when you were told you could come to, that you could leave the camp?
I look, all the time in Cyprus we were very sad. We used to cry a lot, and we missed our parents and we missed our family. And even though the madrichim used to comfort us and say that good times will come and so on. Yeah. But look, the Aliyat Noah did an excellent work because they educated us for 3.5 years. I came here in Kita Vav. Can you imagine Kita Vav? The 6th grade.
And you were only, how old are you now? You were
12.5
12 and a half. And when you first came, did you come to Jaffa or to Haifa?
Yeah, when we came to Jaffa, we couldn't come. They had to bring us on their arms because the vessel couldn't come close to the land.
Because the port is very shallow.
Yeah.
So they took you in little boats?
Yeah. No, by hand, walking. This is what I remember, yes.
And from there you went, and how was the feeling?
Then we went in a Betolim that was in Ranana for 2 weeks. And then we were sent for a month in Karkur, which is near Pardes Khana. And later on, when we went to Haifa to Kfar Hasidim, I remember the road being with the barbed wires on both sides of the. We went on a big truck for sure, standing up, not sitting or something like this. Yeah.
It's historic. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And were you happy to be in Israel?
This is why we came for.
Sure. It must have been...
learned the Hebrew since I was in the 1st grade. I studied the Torah. We learned Breshit and Shmot. We had all the festivals, the Jewish festival, how to celebrate them, and songs around it, and stories around the festival. So I don't know even one single song in Romanian.
Wow.
You understand? Because all the time I was in a Jewish surrounding.
It's amazing.
I don't know even one song. When I came here to, when my parents came, they went also through in Aliyah, Shar Aliyah. My father didn't want to have to stay in road to take the food, and he wanted immediately to go to work. And he said, here in Israel, I'm not going to be a merchant. I'm not going to to lie or to make monkey business. I'm in Israel. I'm not going to be there. And so, anyhow,
how long were you in Kfar Hasidim?
3.5 years.
And could your parents write to you? Could you communicate with your parents?
Yes, we had, but in those days, it took a long time till a letter arrived. Yes, for sure. Yes.
And when did your brother came with your parents?
Yes.
What year did they come?
In 1951.
Wow. So where did you see your parents when they came? It must have been...
Yes, we were in Haifa. There were big gates at the port. Yes, and, little by little people came up. Yes.
And when you saw your parents and your brother?
You can imagine.
It must have been unbelievable, the emotion you hadn't seen for so long.
Right. I wasn't separated from my parents all this time, only the time that I was to the summer camps. And I imagined that when I go to Israel, it will be like it was in the summer camp. But it wasn't. It was good. Look, they took good care of us, for sure. They educated us very, very nicely. And we had all what we needed, the food and clothing and things like that, medication. You know, for 3.5 years I was watching myself only with cold water. We didn't have a hot water system.
Because it was also the War of Independence.
Oh, because over there, it means in those days it was different.
And when your parents came...
when my parents came, I was already in... I finished Kita Tet. And then I wanted to be a teacher, and I enrolled here in Seminar Mizrahi at Baka.
In Yerushalayim?
In Yerushalayim.
But did you stay with your parents?
No. At the beginning I didn't stay with my parents. My parents got a shikun in Rosh Pina. And when I came home, there weren't youth in my age. They were observing Shabbat and I didn't want what they have over there. There was a big cafe. They came, they sang and they danced and so on, and I didn't like it. So I said to my parents, I don't come to Rosh Pina. So you have to move in another place. Maybe over there I'll come. And then with connections my parents knew from Romania, he got a job in Kfar Saba, and we rented a flat over there. And then I studied here in Jerusalem 1 year, and I was au pair I got very good not application, but good references. Good references. And I went to stay with the Hutner family. You know who is Hutner? Rav Hutner.
Rav Hutner, sure.
Yes, that he was ארגן אז את המוסד שיש פה של הגמרא. איך קוראים למוסד הזה?
Rav Hutner was one of the great Rabbonim.
That's right. So I have the luck, as I said, with God, השגחה עליונה, and I was for a full year over there, and by the end of the year I said that I have to go out and help my parents. I didn't finish the seminar. I jumped a class from Kita Yud, I jumped to Kita Yud Aleph. So the principal, and then I went out and I started to teach Hebrew in Ma'abara, Migdal, because we used to live in Kfar Saba. And over there at Migdal you had to walk. We didn't have any connections, bus connections.
And Ma'abara is like a camp for the immigrants.
Yeah, that's right, new immigrants.
There were many immigrants from North Africa, from Yemen, and
that's right.
And you taught Hebrew to the new immigrants.
Yes, at the beginning, I didn't have a diploma for teaching, and with the years to come, I prepared myself. I studied. I used to live in Kfar Saba and went to Tel Aviv at the night school to finish my high school, Kita Yud Bet. Yeah. Yeah.
And Rivka, your parents and your brother, they were happy they made Aliyah, that
yes,
they came?
For sure. Look, let's see like this. They went to Rosh Pina and they actually got madrichim, agricultural madrichim. They planted onions and potatoes, but they didn't have any. They didn't know how to do it. Anyhow, there were hard times for them. Later on, when he came to Kfar Saba, so he got already more stable place. He used to sell bus tickets. It was at Ranana. I don't know if you remember. The Ranana, there was a budke over there.
That's right.
But now when you go over there, you can't recognize anything.
It's changed.
Yes, there was a budke over there, and people used to buy the tickets like you have now the rough cars.
Yeah.
So you don't bother the driver. So my father used to sell the tickets over there.
Amazing. And Rivka, your parents, they remained religious, and your brother?
My father, we used to live all the time near the synagogue. Yes, we used to go. I used to go to the synagogue with my mother every single festival for sure.
And when did you meet your husband?
Later on, I was teaching already 3 years. 1955. Yes, I got married.
And your parents were at the wedding?
Yes.
And your brother? And
yes.
It must have been a tremendous big celebration.
Yes, but no, my mother was very sick because I went to Israel. She wept a lot, and she had some operation on her eyes, and all the time she was very, very depressed that she sent me out, that she let me to go out. And she missed me very much. And when I got married, she also, that's my husband and that's my family.
It's wonderful.
I had so
Rivka, it's really, really special. I just want to thank you so much, Rivka. I'm going to just, for 1 second, I just want to really, it's unbelievable, your story. And
Come sit down.
okay, so Rivka, I just want to thank you so much. Well, it's been unbelievable. You are, your story, and I've known you for many years, and I'm so grateful to you that you've shared.
Yes, I'm happy that I could do it.
Well, I'm so
because
grateful.
When you asked me several times, I really couldn't.
I know.
I really
And thank God you're looking well and you're feeling well, and you should just be well and have mazel and bracha.
I have a wedding of my
Your grandchild?
Yes, a week after Purim.
Oh, yeah, mazel tov, mazel tov. And Rivka, if I could ask you, what message do you give your grandchildren? If they ask you for advice or a message?
To keep Israel and to know that this is the only place for Jews to be. Not to allow a Holocaust or so hard times that the Jews suffered. Not to allow. To go to the army, to prepare to stand for our country. This is the most important thing.
Rivka, I couldn't agree more. And
because this is one. Now, when you see that it's going on a war is going on over there, and when I can't see the pictures. I can't see because it reminds me too many things. I don't look to the picture, not to the television, nothing at all. But when I do look at it, I say, we shouldn't have wars, but wars are going to...
It's repeating itself. And
it's repeating itself.
But there's a difference. Now, Jewish refugees have got a home they can come to.
Yes, but not only... There will come with them a lot of Gentiles.
And it's true. But
and then we'll have a big problem later on when their children will grow up and they will want to get married. We don't know who is a Jew, who is not a Jew. As we said, our nation is one that...
but it's compassionate and it's...
Gizani. It's a racial nation.
But it's saving lives. And
that's right.
God,
this is how we survive 3,000 years.
It's so true. Anyway, Rivka, thank you so much. I'm so
Todava.
There are no words to
Can I
thank
make
you.
you a cup of coffee?
I'm just being with you, Rivka. It's been unbelievable. And you should just mazel tov for the chasana.
Todava.
It's wonderful, wonderful. And you
Thank
should just
you
be
so
well and
Todava.
thank you so much.
But you don't.
So Rivka, these are the photographs.
Yeah.
And this is a photo of you and your brother and your parents in 1947.
That's right. That December last month.
And where was the photo taken?
In Yash, in my hometown.
In Romania.
Yes, in Romania.
In 1947.
Yeah.
And then you have in December 47 with you and your brother.
That's right. This is just before I left to make Aliyah. Just before I left.
And then here is with your parents. You're not sure if it's...
Right, yes, this was sent to me when I was already in Israel.
It's with your brother?
Yes, it is my brother. It was in Pesach. I know I put April because it was very close to Pesach when I got the picture.
And this is a picture of you in 1949 here in Israel?
In Mossad, where I've learned, where I've studied. It's a little bit enlarged.
Then at the bottom you have another beautiful with a friend of yours in 49.
Yes, and the same Paranoia Dati, Bikfar Hasidim, on Purim.
And this is a beautiful picture in 55, just before you got married.
Just before I got married, yes.
Rivka, thank you so much.
Okay. You are welcome.
It's very precious.
Yes. I'm happy to give it to you.
Rivka, thank you so much.
Okay.